Video is going to be a film study look at Byron Murphy, rookie defensive tackle, first-round pick for the Seattle Seahawks. He got 19 snaps in their first preseason game when the Seahawks defense just swamped the LA Chargers. He certainly looked the part. It took me 2 days to finally get to the film. Even though he wasn't on the field for the first two possessions, he showed the potential. I think the reason why the Seahawks drafted him so early, because he can play extremely well against the run and the pass. I'll show the pass rush stuff first. I think that's probably what people are most interested in. 6'1", 200 or 305 pounds, 310 pounds. Built as someone athletic enough, strong enough to help against the pass as well. So we'll get to the pass rush stuff first. As an aside, I do plan on Saturday watching the Seahawks game and doing a reaction video. It'll be a long day for me. Ravens game, Lions game, Seahawks game, stacked back to back to back. Just wanted to let you know if you're a Seahawks fan and you're interested in my content, be another way to see something that I produce on my channel and maybe interact. All right, so this is going to be a quarterback hit on a stunt. Look, Mike Macdonald and the defensive staff there are going to create opportunities through scheme. And the natural talent is here for the whole team, but for Byron Murphy we're talking about. The talent is there. In this case, Murphy seems to be is stunting across the face late. And then once he's on this track, he's a train. I mean, you're not stopping him. Mike Macdonald's scheme is reliant upon rushing four and changing the coverage up post-snap for the quarterback, such that they're confused and have to go through the reads, maybe get to their third read more often, and they become less sure of what they're looking at over the course of the game. You, as a Seahawks fan, will know early if things are working. But there will be games this year. You witnessed one last year, unfortunately, as a Seahawks fan, in Baltimore, the middle of the second quarter, where you're like, what are we doing on defense? How are we stopping them like this? In terms of creating opportunities through scheme, think about this. The Ravens had 108 sacks over 2022 and 2023. Rewind even a year before that, 2021, the only year that Macdonald was at Michigan. You had career seasons for Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo. Prior to 2021 at Michigan, those two guys had combined for 4.5 sacks. And those 4.5 was Hutchinson. Ojabo didn't have a single career sack prior to 2021. In 2021, they combined for 25. In 1 year in Macdonald's scheme, people are going to get paid here. Byron Murphy won't be one of them, at least initially, because he's a rookie. Could be Boye Mafe. All right, second play that I want to go over. This is fourth possession, 1st and 10. It's a bull rush against the center. He's just trying to walk the center back, kind of away from help of the right guard. Murphy and 95, the other D tackle, end up, this is the interception by Kobe Bryant, obviously. Murphy and 95 end up switching on this one. Four-man schemes, just so you know, are the backbone of Mike Macdonald's pass rush, of his pass defense, his coverage paradigm, coverage/blitz paradigm. It's just that the four-man rushes will often come from different places, different looks. You'll get games on pretty much every play, whether it's what looks like a bull rush here, and then 95 fold in the top, over the top if that's organic. I do suspect that you have a missed stunt earlier on, and you get a better bull rush opportunity out of Murphy a little later. I think he's going to have a lot of wins against interior offensive linemen, cause a shit ton of problems for pass protection schemes that don't really want to keep a running back in to deal with what is oftentimes only going to be a four-man rush. If you just talk about the mathematical addition and subtraction, rushing four and them using 6 in pass pro, Macdonald is going to threaten things, and then when your D tackles can win, like Murphy and others in this roster, it's going to really cause problems. All right, next pass play, he's definitely walking the center back. He's over on the other side here. Puts him literally right into the quarterback's lap, such that the quarterback can't finish his follow-through. I think Murphy also knows when to get skinny and reduce the surface contact area. He briefly does this here by bucking his head, and then you can see him dip his right shoulder a little bit as the left guard went in to engage him. The left guard peels off, and he's able to finish off the center. He did the same thing to the same center on a run play that I'll show you here in a little bit. In terms of Macdonald creating pass rush opportunities for guys, I'll talk about it again at the end, but there's multiple players that have had career years at Michigan and in Baltimore with Mike McDonald as the defensive coordinator. He's your head coach now. Durday is the defensive coordinator. So I understand that dynamic, some people would say, is slightly different. It's got to be Mike McDonald's system because it was wildly successful the last 2 years in Baltimore. I wonder if there's a missed stunt here. It could be on either guy. It could be on both. I think there's supposed to be a stunt on this play. 95 is folding over the top of Murphy. And it looks to me like Murphy might be expecting a pick as well. What I mean by a pick is, inside linebacker or defensive tackle picking the center that Murphy's dealing with, and then a loop over the top. Now, it's obvious that's not what happens. Additionally, it almost looks like to me 95 is waiting on it as well. So I think that there was a stunt called for a pick, and one of these guys got it wrong there. And I may be incorrect there as an aside. You, as a Seahawks fan, you will see this year, and one of your inside linebackers will often be responsible for creating the pick. Patrick Queen was exceptional at it in 2022 and 2023. Multiple guys benefited from it. It's a nasty skill for an inside linebacker at depth to be able to have, and then let the D tackle fold over the top. Again, that's obviously not what happens on this play. I think there's a missed stunt. I think there's a communication error between those two. Nonetheless, really impressive game for Byron Murphy. 19 snaps, like I said, against the run and against the pass. So here he is against the run. He's going to just totally destroy the center here. It's a 2nd and 9. What looks like an outside path by Spiller ends up being a tackle for loss for Murphy. Both defensive tackles are stepping to their right, our left on the screen. You're going to see games played on every single snap at some level. So talking about Murphy stepping here, and then 95 stepping here. It allows 59 to kind of fold over the top. You'll see small games, however subtle, and Murphy's strength, his physical strength on an individual level is going to play a role, as well as the other D tackles as well. I also was a little surprised they drafted him. I think I said that on draft night. I didn't do necessarily a Seahawks content, but last year, fooled around with some Tariq Woolen videos. You may know I'm a big fan of Boye Mafe. I thought he played extremely well against the Chargers the other day. Murphy, I think, gives McDonald another subtle way to attack the offense, meaning we're not just going to stand here and rush in the same lanes that we line up in. You're going to have all this, mug looks, fake blitzes from inside linebackers, nickel DBs, but these subtle games that you can play, whether it's a pick exchange stunt on a pass play or stepping towards the back. Also, it's away from the tight end that both defensive tackles are stepping. You never know what their call is and what their rationale is for doing it. We can just try to break it down from the end zone angle and show you what happened on the play. I think everybody's seen this play. First, I think this is his first play in the NFL. I could be wrong. 3rd possession. He's in a 2-eye technique, so inside shade of the guard, and he's going to be stepping out. Keep in mind, this is the 3rd possession after the Chargers offense has gone 3 and out and 3 and out against what I presume is the Seahawks starters. It's an exchange stunt with the D tackle, Murphy, and 59. So the center and the guard are both working to Murphy, and 59 sneaks right through. So they had a run stunt in here. 48 is also going to be able to flow to this free because I believe they're stepping 95 in this direction, trying to get him moving that way. So just a really badass stunt, well-timed, and Murphy is extremely versatile. I think that was pretty obvious. It's a 1st and 10, run play for Spiller. Murphy, this is great recognition, or he knew something, meaning he knew something pre-snap. He recognizes to go to a knee too soon, meaning he's not been touched, he's not been engaged. He creates a hard joint. So by going to a knee, here you can see his knee. There's the hard joint created. His cleats are in the ground. He's dug his cleats into the ground, and there's no moving him. He doesn't get moved horizontally, obviously vertical. It makes me wonder that they saw something pre-snap such that they thought it was going to be a run play against the 1st and 10. This is 5th possession for the Chargers. 3 technique to the side of the back also is interesting on read plays. 59 technically has this A-gap, and because you get this hard joint here by Murphy, basically an edge being set, there's nowhere to go for Spiller with the 3 technique being taken over by the tackle, the read man free, inside linebacker and A gap. You filled all 3 gaps to that side. Spiller, perhaps could try to bounce it. I'm not saying it's there. I'm saying this is a way to stop zone read stuff to the side of the back with a 3 technique there and a hard joint being created, a hard edge, if you will, being created by Byron Murphy's shorter than some of the other D tackles that are around. You got to remember, I'm a Ravens fan, so I saw Calais Campbell play for years at 6'8", but this is a badass talent. And whether he recognized it on the snap, whether he had an inkling or some type of pre-snap communication by the inside linebackers, in any case, what he did, his reaction, well, pre-action, because you can see he hasn't been touched yet, and he's already reacting to the double team by creating a hard joint with that knee down and that outside foot in the ground and kind of torquing that body a little bit. No movement, 73 and 64, try to expand him. Can't get it done. This one, him and 98 are late to line up. This is my last play I'm going to show you. I'm sure, I know I've seen 2 other Byron Murphy film studies this week, so if I'm giving you old information, forgive me. I've been traveling for about 3 days, and I'm definitely a day behind on getting this one completed. 1st and 10, 91 and 98 are lining up late. It only goes down as a 2-yard gain for, I think it's Dotson around the edge, but they're lined up late. I'm a stickler for, get lined up, and especially if we're going to run a stunt, we got to be lined up because we want the O-line to get their blocking scheme established. Well, it's a pin pull here, I think 12 personnel, so 89 is pinning down. Alt, the first-round tackle, is pulling over to the right-hand side. Looks like they kind of get the edge, but it's a great job by 24 to win to the outside as the force player. Only negative play to mention, being lined up late. It's picky, and I am very, very picky about it. As a coach, former high school coach, that was non-negotiable. You're in a good stance or you're not on the next play. And it doesn't look like it's a problem for him, but on this particular play, it wasn't there. It wasn't lined up early enough. One thing to mention in terms of McDonald's progression and how it relates to Murphy and some of the other guys, Boye, Mafe, and others, is everywhere McDonald goes, the sacks go up. Well, why? Well, number one, they're creating more known pass situations because they stop or slow down the run. Michigan in 2021, they did that. I talked to you about Hutchinson and Ojabo going into 2021. I know they don't play the same position as Byron Murphy. Going into 2021, they had 4.5 career sacks. Those 4.5 career sacks had happened in 35 career games. Now, the COVID season had just occurred in 2020. Ojabo only played 6 games that year. Hutchinson also missed a year, I think a lot of the COVID season, for an injury. So it's still 35 games and only 4.5 sacks created. And then suddenly, in 2021, Mike McDonald shows up and they go 25 sacks and they reach the college football playoffs. Let's go the next year, 2022, with the Ravens. 48 sacks. The Ravens had trouble creating pressure prior to McDonald's arrival, so much so that Wink Martindale had almost kind of put the pedal to the metal in terms of blitzes and gone too far. And that was a little bit of an overreaction on his part. He's got a great career as a coach. He's now at Michigan as the defensive coordinator, which is kind of unique. Mike McDonald showed up and kind of reversed it. He used a lot of obfuscation and 4-man rushes that were disguised and still got to 48 sacks in 2022. Justin Houston had 9.5 sacks at that point. Great player, Hall of Fame career, if you ask me, or borderline, even if you don't like Justin Houston's game. Point is, 9.5 sacks is what he had in Baltimore in 2022, went to Carolina in 2023, got cut. Last year, 2023, Ravens had 60 sacks, a little bit less dominant against the run. 11 personnel run game is a little bit of an issue against McDonald's scheme. I don't want to spoil things for you, but I'll get into that more in a video that we do early in the regular season. But Justin Matabike, career high 13 sacks. Kyle Van Noy, career high 9 sacks. Jadeveon Clowney, who's since left, 9.5 sacks. He's only reached 10 sacks, I think, once in his career. Byron Murphy is going to have opportunities created just by the scheme, and his natural talent is going to take over oftentimes. I think you got a super talent as a first-round draft pick defensive tackle, fits into that front 6, 7 perfectly. If you ask me, if you're a Seahawks fan, I'm sure you've watched other content because you guys watch a shit ton of content in my experience. And if you let me know what other people have said about Murphy's play, I only included, I think, 8 snaps out of the 19 that he played. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study video, about Byron Murphy, rookie defensive tackle, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach. Reminder, I'll do a Seahawks reaction video late Saturday night to try to talk about the game flow and what McDonald was doing on defense in the second preseason game. Appreciate you guys' time.